door. Hey everybody, happy Thursday, January 25th. Welcome to the TED Show, episode 102, with my friend, Orange County Commissioner District 3 and Orange County Mayoral candidate, Pete Clarke. Welcome, Pete.
Oh, thank you.
Let us know that you can hear us and see us. That's always the most important part of the show. Once we get that established, then I can get on and I can stop making my stupid jokes to Pete and we can actually talk about real things. Tracy, let me know you can hear us or see us. I think the sound in here is pretty good. Look, Shirley Stamper's on. See how they start popping on? I can barely see that, so we're working on it.
I took my glasses off.
I've got my contacts in. Too much glare. So welcome, man. We have so much to talk about. Shirley Stamper says sounds good. Thanks, Shirley. I read your bio, which I already knew a lot of the stuff about you, but you've had Mary Tiffany's on. You've had a very interesting history, and we were talking about, you're an Army brat, you mentioned that in your bio, but we were talking about how you're a Boone grad, I'm a Colonial grad. That's okay. He's a Brave, I'm a Grenadier, and I actually graduated. There are many of us that actually got out of there alive. Actually, it was an amazing school, so welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being on here. We have so much to talk about. Give them a little history because, like me, we all have this 20-second attention span, so they may have read the bio, they may not have, but tell them a little bit about you, Pete.
Well, like you mentioned, growing up an Army brat, when you talk about going to the same school for your entire life, the same little system, elementary school, I was in Washington State, Seattle.
Oh, is that where you were? I should have asked that. I did not.
And then following that, I finished up elementary school in Clarke, Germany, and then over to Enterprise, Alabama.
You really were all over the place.
And middle school was early on in France. The biggest shock of the whole thing was when Enterprise, Alabama, and landed in Paris.
Yeah. How did that cultural experience go?
Oh, it freaked me out. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in Paris.
Oh, you can't hear Pete, man. Look, this is why we have friends.
Okay.
Can't hear Pete. Talk up, Pete.
Okay, but all of a sudden you're landing in Paris after spending 3 years in Enterprise, Alabama. And you don't know where you're headed with your dad. You end up in this place called Orleans in this little house out in the middle of nowhere. And I can understand when people arrive and they can't speak English. Well, I couldn't speak French.
You couldn't speak. Well,
no.
Sometimes you can't speak English. Hold on. We've got to get. Hold on. People are telling us, Pete, please get closer to Ted. I thought Pete was talking really well, and Mary says they're static. This is why we have good people on here. Let's try it, people. Hold on. Have a lot of static noise. Microphone. You're right, Tony.
Okay.
Hold on. This is why we go live, folks. Very staticky.
That's right.
All right, you keep us in the loop and let me know if that helps or doesn't help.
How's that?
Make sure the microphone is plugged in all the way. Yes, Tony, tell me if you can hear us better before Pete keeps talking. That's why we asked. The last time I did this, it went the entire time with no microphone. Yeah, so we recorded and we looked like we had nothing. Much better. And you need two microphones. I know Tracy. Oh, Mary says yay. Tracy, yes, much better. I'm hoping. I love it. This is what instant gratification is all about.
There you go.
All right, so you went from Alabama to France, and you couldn't speak French.
Nope, but I can speak German, so I found a kid to hang out with for a while. So yeah, we could communicate a little bit, and then we came back to the States in a little town called Milton, Florida, which was my mom's hometown.
That's Santa Rosa County? No.
No.
I'm an old insurance guy.
You know then. And so my dad passed, and she came down to visit a cousin here and came back and announced that we're moving to Orlando. And I said, well, you guys have a nice life because I'm not leaving. And I was playing baseball. We were going to Pensacola, to play in the All-Star game. And
nice.
She said, yeah, come on down, when you finish, bring your aunt. And so I did. A big night in Milton. Well, Milton, a really big night is, flounder gigging in the roller rink. And you wind up here, you got like malls and Battle of the Band. So I've been here ever since. And really
you never left. You got a bachelor's degree and 2 master's degree. Did you stay here at UCF and get them? Where did you go?
Well, actually, I went back to Pensacola to the University of West Florida for the bachelor's degree in marine biology.
Nice.
I want to be in oceanography.
Marine biology. Why?
Yeah. Well, I want to be in oceanography, and I want to go to the University of Miami. And then 2 things kind of stymied me. One was the price, and the second is I'd have to take fluid mechanics. And I said, I'm not going to take that. So,
what is fluid mechanics?
Well, I don't know. It just sounded bad. It sounded like really hard.
Sounded really difficult.
Like the engineering stuff. So I went back to a safe place in Pensacola, and had a really great marine biology school. So I went there and finished up and came back here. And I did, when I came back, I lived in New Smyrna for 2 years so I could surf. And I did work here.
You're a beach boy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I just love the water. I love the outdoors. And, I was attracted all through my youth, to Jacques Cousteau and all the work that they were doing. But when you graduate with an undergrad degree in marine biology, people just say, well, that's nice. Go back to school.
What are you going to do with that, Pete?
To work for those guys, you got to have like a PhD to be a deckhand. So you go back to school and.
So what was the second master's in?
The second was I went to Florida State. It was in public health and education. I was working for the State Department of Health then, environmental health, and the state sent us to school. So I got a master's in public health and education, and that was a really nice experience. And came back and continued working and decided that maybe I should do something in kind of administrative area, because I had been asked to move up into administration because I had a knack for doing budgets and numbers and computers, and that was kind of the early days.
That's interesting. How does somebody who's very marine biology oriented goes into math and administration?
I don't know. So I'll ask my wife. She's
right.
a therapist.
Oh my God, we were talking about that. So you have been married for 13 years.
Yeah, too.
And your wife is a therapist.
Yes.
And Pete and I were talking about how difficult it is in general, I would imagine. Actually, he didn't say this, so I'm not going to get him in trouble. This is totally me. But how difficult it must be to have a therapist who you're arguing with or having a discussion with, or a husband and wife, whatever's going on between you, banter, and you're going to lose. I mean, we all kind of know we're going to lose,
yeah.
but
she lets me win every now and then.
That's what you said. So to your credit,
that's right.
To your credit, she lets you win sometimes.
And she's the most lovely person on the planet. She really is.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. Stacy wins most arguments anyway, and it's not because I necessarily let her. It's that she just is much more vehement about it and good at it than I am.
My wife's smarter than me, so that's.
Well, heck yeah. Well, that's kind of a given.
Yep.
All right, so I was asking you earlier, which I found interesting. I said, what did you do? What kind of politics were you involved in prior to becoming Orange County Commissioner District 3? And you said none.
None.
So that was the first time. You're the current Orange County Commissioner, District 3, just for everybody who doesn't know. And what made you decide to run? Like, what possesses somebody to go? It's not like you started out small. That's a large position to go for.
Yeah, in my career, and in my bio, you see a lot of the organizations that I've been involved with. Range from healthcare to just different issues in the community. And when I left Orange County and retired and went to work for community health centers, it just kind of made me have a yearning to do more. And the worst thing you can do is that you try to get people together, they don't return your calls. And I said, if I was a county commissioner, they probably would. And I was right. But I got to the first time I ran in 2010, I got beat, man. I was like dead last. You can't win on.
Did you run for District 3 then too?
I was District 4, and that's when Jennifer Thompson ran. And she ran just a marvelous campaign. And
she's out like Waterford, Avalon
area,
right?
Yeah. And so I lost, and I was salving my wounds, and just enjoying life. And I read the paper one morning and said, "Dear, guess what? They redistricted if we could do this again." And she looked at me. It was only the way Kathy could look at me, like, "Uh-oh,
you're crazy."
Yeah. So we chatted about it. She said, "Yeah, go ahead and do it." And so I ran again, and I remembered everything Jennifer did, and I tried to double it because she won. She just ran just a great campaign.
She did.
And so election night, I was ahead by 26 votes out of 66,000.
Wow.
And so when runoff was all said and done, we won by 70 votes. And
there was a runoff. So we joke about how Glenda Chauncey says Pete Clarke rocks. It's true.
Hey, Glenda.
There was a runoff. So we don't do a lot of R&D on the show because there's not any budget for that. So tell me, who did you run off against? I don't actually know.
That was Louis Damiani.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And, we were outspent 7-1. And I think, in all honesty, I think my work in the community probably helped propel me to a large degree, because I knew so many people, and we had done so much good work together and tried to do so much good work together that I think that really, at the end of the day, helped me, quite a bit. And we worked very hard. And,
Don't you think
Louis is a great guy? We're friends. We work together.
Do you think it's also because you ran a fair and honest and not mudslinging campaign? And what do you think about that in politics right now? It just seems like it gets bloodier and bloodier everywhere we go. It hasn't started yet in your race or in the race for your commission District 3 seat yet. But I imagine after seeing the District 5 race and all of that was going on last year, you have to be gearing up for some kind of fight. How does that work? How do you reconcile that with the person that you are?
Well, we're not going to go negative. It's it takes a lot of energy, and the old adage, it's far easier to tell the truth than create falsehoods.
Agreed.
And a lot of the negative stuff you get it's marginal at best. It's kind of stretching the truth. The sad thing is there are other groups out there that will go negative on your behalf, and you don't even know it. And
that's fascinating. So I think a lot of people don't believe that that's true, but it really is. So
it is.
Groups who are really not necessarily pro Pete, for example, they're just anti whomever he's running against. They'll take the ball and run with it, do a negative ad, and then you end up holding the bag regardless of what happens.
And that's just kind of the nature of the beast, and you hope it doesn't happen. The mayor's race, we have four quality people, and we hope to keep it to the issues. And if we keep it to the issues, I think everybody's going to have a good discussion, see who they think can lead Orange County, and I think when the dust clears, it's going to be me. And
I love the positive attitude.
So that's what we're going to be. We're going to do it positive.
But so tell me what you feel like you have accomplished in District 3. What were some of your goals and what are you working on? And then I want to talk about the mayoral thing, because that's still a big leap. You're still going from commissioner, having done from nothing from before, to commissioner, and you're working on your goals there. And then you have bigger and broader goals, obviously, because it's all of Orange County. So what have you done in District 3 that you, initiatives maybe that you've instigated, initiatives that you, I couldn't think of it, instigated. Is that the right word? I need more water.
Okay. Anyway, well, when in our district is about 38% Hispanic, and it was one of the promises I made, when I was running, is that I would not forget, the Hispanic population, or any population for that matter. But I learned early on that sometimes people make a promise and 4 years later they show up again, and kind of remind them of that promise. And what I really try to do is to be out there in the community and go to a lot of events, go to a lot of meetings, and really try to work individually, with a lot of the community folks. And I give everybody my cell phone number. And so I have folks.
That's interesting. So you give, Eric was saying that yesterday too. You give everyone your cell phone number.
Yep, I do.
And so how does that look? Do people actually take advantage of that, or they go, hey, I'm going to call Pete Clarke, I'm ticked off, and it's Sunday at 11 o'clock, or how does that work?
And it's rare when that happens. It's just generally they're ticked off during the week, so that's when you get the call. But Steve Hudak at the Sentinel did an article a year or so ago about our text messages, and he went through mine, and he said it's kind of amazing the kind of text messages I was getting. It was all about community issues, constituent issues, about homeless issues and people needing some assistance. And so there's kind of a network of folks out there that text me when they see something that they think I can help them with, or they're having some issues, getting through the system. And it doesn't happen that often. I'll be honest with you that nobody has really taken advantage of the fact that I give it out, and I appreciate that. And so that's one of the things we really do is we're trying to make sure that our government represents the face of our community.
Sure.
And through appointments to boards and the rest of it, I think I've really paid a close attention to that and have accomplished that.
I think people want to be heard,
they
right?
Do.
They want to feel like they have a voice, and they want to feel like it's not just the false promises that get made during the campaign. So if you really are accessible to them, we were talking about this earlier, one of the great things about Facebook Live and the show and other shows is that people get to see Pete. We're talking about some issues, but you get to see him without any of the rest of the politics going on. And if people feel like they can relate to you, then they're more apt to vote for you, to do business with you, to work with you, to give you money for your philanthropic cause. And I think that's the power of social media, which you've done a great job of embracing, I think, you and your team.
Yeah, we try, and we really do. And you have to really be really careful being an elected official for the Sunshine Law and the public records piece of it. So, we have our public Facebook page, which is this meeting, that meeting, and certain items we can put out there that is just it's information. And we try not to get into a lot of discussions because it's public information, and you don't want to cross a line where you might say something that would impact a vote later down the road. So you got to be extraordinarily careful. And that's why on personal pages, you shy away from it too, because you just don't want to be put in a predicament, violating sunshine laws.
Now, sunshine law, that's a great question. 'Cause I do notice that I'm friends with some local elected officials, and they have a private page where they're very adamant about, look, I'm not going to allow you to post everything that you want to post on here. It's my private page. Does their private page still fall under the sunshine law?
Once they post something that would be sunshine, you may as well just say, yes, it does, because people then will go after it. I guess I'm not a lawyer, but
you just play one on TV.
Yeah, just play one. That's right. Yeah, I say 8 days in, not a holiday in, 8 days in. So that's kind of lawyer I am. But you got to really be careful. And but where Facebook has really been helpful is I'm not an avid Facebooker, and neither is my wife, but we'll see something or we'll get tagged on something. And it really has helped me with the community when I get tagged on an issue.
Sure.
And what I tell them, look, I need your contact information, but I'm going to send this as an email into the county email system so that it becomes part of the public record.
Right.
And then so we're okay. So as long as you put it in the public record, you'll be okay. And sunshine law really is, I think, a wonderful thing.
Well, that became
it really
such
is.
and I won't get into the politics of that, but that became such a big issue because of TextGate or whatever they were calling it.
Yeah.
And there were some issues with texting back and forth. So I felt like that came out. A lot of people didn't understand. I think some elected officials really, until that particular thing came out and they were faced with having to turn over their text messages and their social media. But it is a good thing. I mean, it's there to protect the people that voted the elected officials in.
Yeah, I mean, any discussion we have is in the sunshine.
Correct.
And other than that, we might say hate each other, but it's you got to be very circumspect about it.
Well, I like that you're. And before I get on to the mayoral candidacy and what you want to do, tell them about your band. It's low. I have to share this because it's so awesome. The Low Bid Band.
That's right.
And what did you say? You play 5 keys.
No. I mean, we do classic rock, so if it's more than 5 chords,
that's it.
We probably won't play. But three's probably really good. E, A, and B, or C, F, and G, then we're good to go.
Now, do you sing or just play?
Well, they give me a microphone, but I think they turn the volume down before it starts. So I just think I'm singing. So it probably makes the band sound a whole lot better. But we're Fish on Fire on the 10th at 8:30. I said I get that shameless plug.
Oh yes,
in.
no, I like that. So Fish on. That's not a shameless plug. That's awesome.
Okay.
All right, so you've obviously you have more than dipped your toe. You are running for Orange County Mayor, and we talked about this. I had to ask you because I wasn't sure. Mayor Jacobs is at the end of her term limit. You're elected to. You can be elected to 2 4-year terms. So her 8 years is up. So she's having to step away from the race, and now we have an entirely new group of people running. Why do you want to make that leap? Because now you've got district, which is big enough, and now you've got the entire county. What is it that made you go, all right, did Kathy say, oh my God, are you, and she probably said you're insane again.
That's pretty close.
Frequently. It didn't have anything to do with this.
Pretty close.
But what made you go, all right, this is the right time, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, it was a very long process, with both Kathy and I, and we had discussions about it, and I talked to a lot of people, some of the folks that that I share faith with, and some other folks who give me good counsel, and at the end of the day, it's what you want to do for the community. Yeah, I have mine. I don't owe anybody anything. Nobody owes me anything. And so what I look at is what can I do as Pete, the mayor, to help folks achieve what rightfully everybody should be able to achieve.
And is that difficult? And I want to get into detail with you. Is it a difficult discussion to have? I would imagine it is. Because if you start talking about the things that you think that you've heard or that people have expressed to you, then you have to start talking about some of the things that aren't happening in the county. Yep. And of course, that can open an interesting can of worms for you. So what are some of the things that you're hearing? What are some of the ideas that you have, because it's such it's a large county. You also have a mayor within the county, Mayor Dyer, and there are so many things that go on where the Orlando and Orange County have to work together. So it's a big undertaking.
It is. And I think our relationship with the city, I think, is pretty solid.
I
mean,
agree.
we may argue like a family every now and then, but at the end of the day, if it's for the good of the community, then we're there. But you talk about the major issues looming out there. Just from a practical perspective, is you hear, oh, let's grow smart and smart growth and
smart
all.
growth.
But we haven't been smart. So.
In what ways? What do you think?
We're getting smarter. Look out west, what we're doing. Out in that whole development out there, it's really well planned.
Like Winter Garden.
West of Winter Garden.
Yes.
It's really well planned. Avalon's great, but we have a lot of areas that are still open that we need to really, especially out east. How do we grow out east in kind of a rural area, and folks have some expectations out there that we preserve their rural lifestyle? How do we do that? And how do we do that in connection with Seminole County, where we share that common border?
Sure.
And so, what I want to do is immediately start a process out there where everybody can sit and let's start negotiating or discussing, the boundaries, what it should look like, and do what's kind of mini sector plan. In 1998, that's what the Board of County Commissioners dictated that if you wanted to cross the Econ, you had to do a sector plan. And
so what do you what are the issues out there other than the smart growth? Is it transportation, roads?
Yes.
So many apartments, so many buildings going up, so many people in the schools because of all the apartments in the building. I'm just guessing because those are the things I hear about mostly. Mm-hmm. And of course our highways are interesting, and I don't even know who that falls under, but I know that anybody who's an elected official gets either blamed for it or they want to know what the answers are.
Well, we get a lot of calls about traffic.
I bet you do.
And people, there's a lot of people that move here. A lot. And this is an attractive area. And so growth complicates it. And, you can't, it's hard to build yourself out of it as far as a road network.
I agree.
If you build a lane, it fills up. So, we need to look at alternatives, how we manage the link system and how we do mass transit. I don't know if that was one of the elements that led us not to get the Amazon 2 or whatever it was. Amazon 2.
Oh, that's right. Amazon was considering coming here. Well, one of the challenges, like Eric said yesterday, talking about transportation, at some point we're going to have to take over the responsibility and the cost of Sunrail, which I actually didn't know until yesterday. So. And so it's a great idea, but then I sit up here every day and I watch that traffic on I-4, and I can only imagine the earful that you all are getting as part of that, because people want to be heard on it, and it is a challenge. If it takes an hour to go from here to Longwood or Lake Mary in traffic, then people definitely want to have a voice as to what's going on and how can we fix it.
That hour has been there for many, many years.
It has been there. I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah, but now it's an hour and a half, so that's probably...
Yeah, I was trying to be nice, but you're right, it's an hour and a half.
And we'll see how the toll lanes work in the middle. I saw them down in South Florida years ago. I said, what the heck is that?
Right.
But apparently they work. I don't know. We'll find out. But, Sunrail, we've known all along that, the state of Florida is going to turn it over to us in 2020. I believe it's 2020.
Yes.
We're budgeted for it in Orange County. I would suspect the other partners are. I know there's maybe some qualms in some of the areas where we haven't really built a station. So it's going to be some negotiations and discussions. And north-south, it's going down through Meadowwoods now, connected with the airport.
Right.
Then down to the convention center and towards the attractions. And you can move people to areas of commerce in Medical City and the whole thing that's going on out there. Public transportation is not a moneymaker.
At all, right? It's not.
It's something that governments have done for decades, centuries. And it's about commerce. It's about commerce. It's not about taking a joyride to Barry.
No, it's not. No, you're right. It absolutely is, but it's about commerce.
And so in my district, let's take like the Oak Ridge area.
Yes.
We have a lot of hard-working families. They may have one car, both parents work in a family. So if mom, let's say, wants to work in Medical City. Let's say
Right.
she's a nurse, she wants to work in Medical City, and Dad's working at Lockheed, and he's got to take the car. So how does she get to work?
Right.
And if we can get her to work, then that family succeeds.
That's huge.
That's huge. And we have a lot of two-income families living there, hard working, really trying to make it go. So we got to connect that station, and we're
Right.
going to, I believe, connect it with what we call BRT lanes, bus rapid transit lanes. And so if they can get from there to Medical City, if they can get there to the convention area, if they can get some logistics to get them down to the attractions or some of the businesses down there, it just opens up a whole new world of employment opportunities.
Yeah, it's not that you're right. It's not a moneymaker, but it absolutely has a positive impact on our economy,
It
on
does.
our working families, and so inevitably that becomes a positive impact overall, like you said, on commerce.
Sure
I think
does.
that's so important.
And then the other thing that causes me to run is that if you look at some of the Panhandle, North Florida up there, and you're familiar with it, one of their biggest exports are their kids.
Correct.
They go off to school, they go to University of Florida, they go to Florida State.
No,
UCF, good choice.
Gators. Okay, let's just go to Switzerland, which
That's
is
right.
UCF.
Okay, let's go to Switzerland. And they go back and announce, well, I'm moving to Atlanta, I'm moving to Jacksonville, Tampa, Miami, somewhere, because there's really nothing for me here.
Right.
And I don't want that to happen here. I want when they graduate from UCF or they graduate from U of F or FSU or wherever, that they stay here and raise their families and become part of the community, or they move back and do
Right.
the same thing. So we need to build a community that fits their lifestyle too. And a lot of that doesn't involve around a car like ours did when I was young.
It doesn't.
It was all about the car, all about that car.
Correct.
So that's not necessarily the case now. And but we need not only to do it for the college grads. I don't know if you're familiar with Lift Orlando over by the Citrus Bowl. They're kind of reinventing neighborhoods.
No, I don't talk about Lyft. I don't
You don't?
know. No, I don't. I don't think I do.
Okay, it's a really good project they're working on. And when we did redo the Citrus Bowl, our promise to the community, to the city is that we won't gentrify your area.
Correct.
We're going to come in and we're going to help build it, rebuild it. And they've done a remarkable job, and they're using a process from Aspen Institute, which is a national think tank. In fact, I have a little project I'm working on called 2Gen, which is to move people from poverty to prosperity. And it's a long process, and it's an 18-month process in some cases, but a person will exit, being able to cope like we do, in
So
the world.
2Gen is the name of your
Yeah,
project?
mine's 2Gen, and I use some of the mayor's money that she did in the Invest for Life to buy a facility over on 436.
Very
So
cool.
we're getting a rehab.
No, I didn't know that.
So we're going to do that, and so it's how we. And the reason I'm running is how do we, underneath all the growth, underneath. This Lamborghini we got with all this stuff going on. And everywhere you look, there's cranes, there's construction going
There
on.
is.
People are coming, it's booming. The economic conference, the mayor's
So
economic
much
conference.
building going on.
Sean Snipe, the economist, said this is, it's unbelievable. But underneath it, there's some issues. There's trafficking, and there's mental health issues, and there's issues of homelessness. And with a community like ours that's willing to come to the table and discuss, to kind of look at that social piece of it, and what I've learned in reading and in studying some of the upstart companies that we want to move here, they really look to see what the community does.
Absolutely.
Because their expenditure of social capital is important to them. And so
It's all about this. It's all about the footprint, whether they're leaving a good one or a bad one.
Yeah.
It's all about whether or not the community can handle their growth in the way that they want them
Yeah.
to. Because they're really directing this. You can
Yeah.
offer so much as a city. You can offer all of these incentives to come here or county. And yet, if it's a new world out there, because if the plan doesn't include something that's important to them socially
Yep.
and community-wise, you're not going to get
They're not coming.
their bid. They're not coming.
They're not coming.
And they love Orlando. Trust me, we're almost always in the top 5 or top 10 of
Yep.
choices. We're always in the first or second cut. Honestly, we're there. We're still there.
Yep.
But you're right. It's so important for these companies when they come in. They want to feel like you're going to embrace all of what they want to
Yeah.
accomplish, not just give them the monetary incentives.
Yeah. And I mean, you imagine the Amazon Fulfillment Center we did, not a dime of public money.
Wow.
We expedited the construction of a road, and that was it. And so there was no incentives. That's the attraction of this area.
Correct.
And we need to attract more companies with that kind of philosophy.
We do.
That would be nice because the bidding war is just, I think, just a sin. We have to have this bidding war for companies to come, and that's what it is. It's who can get the best deal. It's
well,
it's
and the
sad.
best deal. I think what people really miss. You brought it up. I'm so glad you did. Is that the best deal isn't always money. It's huge. Don't get me wrong. Believe me, these companies are coming to make a dime and to make sure that they can stretch their dollar as much as possible. But they also want to make an economic and a social impact. And if we're not smart enough to be on board with that, then they will go to the cities that understand it. It's kind of like grant writing. When you write a grant and you're applying for a grant, you're trying to get money from the city or the county or the feds. You have to know that it's not just about the grant and what service you're providing. There's a whole global part of that, and if you don't take that into consideration, then they're not going to move here. They're not going to be part of it.
We just had a discussion Tuesday at the board meeting about Burnham.
Yeah.
$300 million in incentives, and they're leaving.
That's, and why? So talk about that. Because
they couldn't meet, for whatever reason. Yeah, in California, I guess you can look at them. They'll get a $250 million, anonymous contribution.
Right.
Well, here, it's like $250. And so, I mean, that is a huge difference, okay? And they couldn't really, get the fundraising I think they expected. And they really weren't getting the spinoffs. It was really part of the deal, to get the spinoff companies. And so they struggled. And so they'll be leaving, but we just...
And what does that leave? And John's got a question, which I'm going to look on my computer. That's why I'm going to pull this up. What is so if they pull out, I don't think people understand what that does. That's jobs, right? And that's commerce, which has obviously if you're pulling out, that has a negative impact on your local economy.
Okay, but for every little thunderstorm, along comes the sunshine.
Here
right?
comes
So
the sunshine. He's going to give us the sunshine now.
This
We
was our
need the
sunshine discussion. We had Tuesday, and there was a negotiation with University of Florida, and that kind of fell through. The state didn't like because they have some money sitting there. They want to make sure they're protected.
Sure.
So they started negotiations with Florida Hospital, and they had a marvelous plan with Moffitt as a partner to come in and take over the facility. UCF then put in a proposal to, they have HCA coming in as their teaching hospital, and then with Dr. German in the medical school to then have this as a cancer research center as well. And actually their proposal had a kind of a payment clause in it. You have to kind of repay as part of the $40 million Orange County put in it. And it is one of the most difficult decisions. I'm sitting up there because we didn't have to vote, but they said, which way?
Sure.
And then Andy Gardner was there, who was in the Senate, I think, when this happened, saying that maybe we should wait and put this out for bid and get some more discussion. But we don't want Burnham to default because
correct.
Then certain things happen. We may have to auction the building off. Right.
These are things that Brian Fenn says, hey,
Brian.
Love you, buddy.
So we basically said let's look at the UCF proposal.
You're right.
And let them go in, and they're bringing in some private concerns, and some of the nation's leaders in photon therapy and
Photon. That sounds like Star Trek,
really,
right?
I mean, this is amazing stuff.
It's great. We really do have an amazing technology community here. Real quick, I want to ask John had a question, which is a specific one. John Wild, what's your plan to take the recycling program in Orange County out of the Stone Age? I'm just reading, and have someone in charge of it that does something to grow and improve it.
This recycling. For many years, we really had no problem selling our recycling.
Right.
We have this huge recycling plant out at the landfill where everything's sorted and bundled up, and people were paying us $50 a ton, and often went to China and all around the world. But the last we went out for bid 2 or 3 months ago, they came back and told us nobody wants it.
Nobody wants it. Why?
Because there's a glut.
Yeah.
Recycling has kind of been successful, and the Chinese have, I guess, got to the point where they have enough of their own, so they won't take yours unless it's 0.01% pure.
Wow.
And that's very difficult to do. So now we're at a place where we need to determine if we're going to pay or how much we're going to pay for the recycles to go away. And the other problem we have is that with the 2 bins. We're having a lot of trouble with loads that we really can't recycle because they're contaminated. and people have put things in there that shouldn't be in there, so we just have to send them to the landfill, which is a shame.
That's
So
interesting. I always wonder that. So if somebody makes a mistake and throws something in to the recycling, I guarantee you 100%, I've probably thrown a bottle in there that has partial soda in it, or
That might
allegedly.
go, that might go, but we're
But,
talking.
but I know what you mean. Like it could be very easy to go throw it in and not
Sure.
really pay attention.
Yeah.
That contaminates the recycling, and so it has to go to the landfill. It doesn't
Sure.
go to the recycling.
Yeah, but to answer this question more specifically, and we need to look at state legislation as well. We need to. I think what we're going to have to do is we can't mandate it because of some preemptions, but we need to have folks like Universal is going to non-styrofoam. They're going to straws that are not
Eric was
plastic.
talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, I know, and I met the guy doing it out there.
It's
And
amazing.
It's really kind of cool, So we need to see what we're creating to start with. The other option is, people who want to recycle, we'll let them recycle. If they don't, then right now, our only option is a landfill.
And that's what's difficult. So we were talking yesterday about this. So when you get, so we're big users of Amazon, food delivery, Uber Eats,
Sure.
all of that. When you get those, it's 99% either in the plastic or the styrofoam.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And a lot of it's in that styrofoam, and that's not recyclable.
Right.
So I didn't actually know that until Eric said it yesterday. So the fact that I'm throwing that in after I've cleaned it out is a waste. It's terrible. I should just put it in the garbage, which is bad. But the whole point is that you want to have the restaurants go to not utilizing it, so you're not faced with that.
And then we can look at composting and some other. And when I was a kid, we had a compost pile out back. That's where we had our worms for fishing. There's really big worms in that stuff. You just throw it in there.
That
and
wasn't in
compost it.
France.
No, that was in Milton, Florida. But composting helps, and there's a lot of things you can do around the house that can help. Just kind of reduce the load. So we can take it, we can sort it, we can try to sell it, we can try to do what we can with it. But individually, people have to take a little more responsibility.
I agree.
Because we can only do what winds up in the trucks, and it all goes to our landfill.
Right.
Cities.
Well, that's
It all
sort of
goes
what
out there,
happened. So yesterday I asked Eric, who is such a big proponent of yours and loves you to death, I asked him why he didn't have a straw in his water. As soon as the words came out of my mouth, I wasn't pointing you out. They can't see that. As soon as the words came out of my mouth, I knew what the answer was.
Here it is.
We're using a plastic straw.
Yeah.
And he was talking about some of the local places like Hammered Lamb who are going to the paper straws. And you just don't think about all of the little things that can make such a big impact.
So, to answer the question, I can't say that we can wave a magic wand and all of a sudden everything out the landfill will be sorted. We have to probably build a new facility out there if it's worth it. Some of it we can sell to recyclers who actually burn it for energy, and they can burn the clean stuff for energy. But minus that, this is going to take some work, and it's going to be part of our sustainability effort. So I would encourage him to maybe get involved in our sustainability group. It's chaired by John Martinez. And we're always looking for folks to come to the meetings and offer up solutions. So please do that.
That's good. Get involved.
Please do that. Get involved in it.
Get involved.
Because that group is doing some really good work. And Orange County is a wide, diverse area. I mean, we've got a little bit of everything.
It's ginormous, honestly.
And
it's a big undertaking.
So it's a huge undertaking, and we still have folks out there that have their burn piles, and and they bury stuff, and so what can you say? We're not going to go out there with infrared or drones trying to catch them.
No.
It's a little draconian, but we do have some work to do. But that group, the sustainability group, I think would be excellent for folks who want to get involved in recycling efforts. Some of the other things to find out, go on our website ocfl.net, and you find out when the meetings are, and get connected with them. I think it would be well worth it.
That's awesome. Get involved. All right, we're way past time, but I love it. There's I love it. You'll want you to definitely talk about this. Tracy Stein, real quick. Pete, what other charities, here we go, are you involved with? Thanks for your service. So give them that, and then we'll we'll get some things that you want to leave them with.
I'm on the board at Florida Abolitionist, which is the group that's been here, Tomas and his group fighting human trafficking. Gosh, if I remember everything.
Orlando Cattle Barons.
Yeah, that's right. Orlando Cattle Barons, great group.
See, Tracy, I listened.
Yeah. My wife and I were part of the buddy system, through Nathaniel's Hope.
Sure.
Which is Tom Cook and his folks down at Regal. I mean, phenomenal organization. So we try to help out a little bit with them. gosh, there's some others. Now, actually, I tried to make a list.
You did a great note,
My brain when I
honestly.
was
So,
coming,
and the
but,
reason
yeah.
Tracy brought that up is you're a big supporter of Orlando Cattle Barons,
Yep.
which is American Cancer
Sure.
Society.
Yep. We do the walk at Boone. And
You do the walk at Boone. Still a Boone graduate. Can you believe we're local graduates? I love it. I actually love it. All right. What things, or is there anything you want to leave them with, parting words of wisdom, maybe something that they should look for in your upcoming campaign? Any kind of thing you want to leave the audience with?
All I'll say is that, I kind of try it, but, what you see is what you get with me.
100%.
And 407-406-0708, that's my county cell phone.
Love it.
It's 407-406-0708. You got any county questions, county issues, call me on that one. And if you call me on the other phone, if it's for county business, you'll get a nasty, nasty little voice message. It says don't do that. But anything personal, on the campaign page and all is a phone number. I would love to talk to people. I didn't get this far in accomplishing the things I did in healthcare and some of the other things we've done by myself. I'm just this little guy that tries to get people together that can accomplish something major for the community. And I think over the years we've done some phenomenal things, from healthcare to sexual assault treatment centers, to juvenile assessment centers and after-school programs, things I'm very, very proud of, and things I've accomplished. That was before I got elected, and then after we're getting elected. It's a pretty long list, but we've done some really neat things for the community.
I think you have. I appreciate you coming on, being authentic.
Please call me. Contact me.
We're going to post all of Pete's contact information, URLs. We'll come up with some cool hashtags. You are what you say you are. I love that. It's been such a great, authentic conversation. That's my buzzword for 2018, authentic. So we're going to hashtag that.
Right.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Appreciate
I really
it.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You're awesome.
A lot of fun.
Thank you. Shout out to Mary Tiffany.
Mary, thank
you,
you.
Mary. We love you.
Yep.
We love you guys. Tomorrow I have Tara Travis on. But we're going to post all of Pete's information. You can reach out to him. He's encouraging you, so do it. If you've ever wanted to have a voice, have it. He's giving you the option to reach out to him, and you should take it. I'm telling you, the more that you take it, the more action that you take on your end, the better we all are. So reach out to your elected officials. Reach out to the people who are running. And if they give you carte blanche, which Pete just did, then you should definitely take them up on it. And if you don't whine about it. All right. We love you guys. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.